And I was just quickly checking. Last week, Dark won 3-1 versus Solar. Again, with a very Muta-heavy style. I loved it. We had Muta versus Muta one game, which Dark took. We had Muta versus Hydra Lurker Viper another game, which Dark also won. It was very dynamic, very back and forth. It was beautiful to see. But we'll see if we switch things up a little bit here.
I appreciate the omission of the first two games.
Yep, where it was what was it? It was like a 12-pool drone rush, right?
Oh, yeah, for game 1 was Dark going for a 12-pool drone rush. Game 2 was Solar going for a 12-pool drone rush. Defender always won.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that, but you're triggering my memory. Yes, it was a beautiful ZvZ. That's what I loved about it. It was like incredibly aggressive, and then like this macro style, and it was crazy.
Yeah, something about Dark and Solar. They always force these sort of games out of each other. And let's hope that we get it again here on Romanticide. LE. LE, of course, standing for Love's Emissions. Love's Emissions. That's when you make a car. It's run on love. In the bottom right-hand corner map, swatting all the way to the bottom right-hand corner, we have the Blues player going out for the land of Korea. He is known as the brightest of the pro gamers. In a familiar position, but now looking to get revenge, representing KaiZ Gaming, KZG, we have Sola.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Romanticide LE, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, looking to go for that third consecutive ESL win in a row. Can he pull it off? He is representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming, DPG. It is Dark.
Already, I feel kind of shortchanged.
Yeah, hatch first.
Where's my 12 pool? But I guess if you were to do a 12 pool, Romanticide is not in the map to do it on.
Exactly. Over time, we have discovered that Romanticide, it is the eternal empire of the current map pool. It does lead to longer and more macro-oriented games. It's a little bit more difficult to pull a rush off. That doesn't stop a couple of players from trying though. But not today. Not this game.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet. Oh boy. And we shall see, because at the moment both players are doing the same opener. Just hatch, into gas, into pool.
Now here's the question. Who's going to go into the Spire transition first? That, I think, is what we I kind of used to looking out for in the ZvZ.
Exactly, because they both have it in them. You know, going back to last week, we saw Solar. Well, I mean, we saw Muta versus Muta. We saw a game where both of them went for that Spire tech. Both of them rushed to get into those Mutalists. We saw a game where Dark went for Mutas and Solar went into Roaches, eventually into Hydras. Like, they both have it in them to play these like different styles. So we'll see what happens here. Again, like, what are they going to go for?
Yeah, on Romanticide, I'm just trying to think right now. Who would I say is more inclined to go what? I would imagine Dark would be more of a, I'm going to grab Roach Warren and then eventually I'm going to transition, whereas Solar, I peg him to be more of the, I'm going to go immediately into my Spire type of player.
Yeah,
we'll go for the Baneling Nest.
Yeah, we'll see. Both players are playing this safe. If you want to be greedy, you skip the Baneling Nest, but both players are throwing down that Baneling Nest and making sure they don't die to any kind of big Ling Flood.
Yeah, you always gotta need that. Especially with opponents like Dark and Solar. I mean, they're both kind of known for preferring the later stages of the game, but they have it in them to go for these early pushes, as I do just have flashbacks last week.
Yeah, exactly. I like this because, to me, this is like both players are respecting each other. No one's cutting corners. They're playing it safe because they feel like if they don't, then they could just die. So, yeah, and I feel like that's kind of pretty cool to see from these two top-tier Zerg players.
Yeah, they've played against each other enough. They know that they can't exactly take any risks. Well, sometimes they can, but...
Sometimes they can, and we already see a little bit of a difference. We do see Solar is the first to throw down his Evo Chamber. It is a little bit faster. We'll keep an eye on this to see if it's going to get +1 range or +1 melee.
Or potentially even Carapace if Solar decides, you know what? I don't trust Dark at all. I'm going to be playing it super safe. Yeah, but now just not really researching too much. Both players go into their Roach Warren, but that doesn't mean that they're going to go into Roaches.
Again, yeah, exactly. Like, Roach Warren is pretty typical. Even if you are going for mutas, you want to throw down that Roach Warren to deceive your opponent to get that big wall off. And, you know, just in case you do want the Roaches. And they are diverging, mate. Look at it. Look at the upgrades.
+1 range versus +1 melee. We are going to get some Lingbane versus Roaches coming out.
Exactly what we're going to see is Solar. He's going to be wanting to throw down that Spire as he is taking all of his gases. You want to prioritize the melee upgrade because you're going to have Spire, you're going to have mutas out with your Lings. Meanwhile, Dark, he's opting to go for Roaches.
Indeed, he is. Grim Galau reconstitution behind that. And this is a little bit of a situation that we've got on our hands. Dark will be able to hit faster, but Solar will be able to get those mutas out, and I guess it always depends. You know, how many on Dark? Pull back right at the last second.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, he almost pounced on top of the morphing Baneling, and what's important is that Dark, he needs to scout. He needs to realize the situation that he's in so that he can go for that attack and try and hit before the mutas come out.
Yeah, he definitely does. Right now, Solar is sort of keeping him out of his base with this Lingbane, doing a really fantastic job on the defense. Oh, we'll be able to snipe. Okay, not quite. But the Baneling count has been reset. Solar has the defender's advantage, and he has the higher amount of Lings over there. So Dark just gonna go retreat.
Yeah.
Does get a nice scout off of his Overseer. Sees his fire and decides, you know what? What can I get done to this Goliath?
Yeah, and is it too late though? Because the problem is Dark, he goes in for the scout, but the Spire is already done. Enough time was bought. Solar, he has done his job, and now mutas are on the way. Dark, he's going to be forced to be a little bit defensive, but no, he throws down the Nidus. He's going to still want to try and push across the map with his Roaches and with his Queens.
Well, you know what they say, like, the best defense is good offense, and I am a little worried right now for Dark.
Yeah.
Don't see any spores being thrown down at the moment.
So
we're just saving them for going into Nidus.
Yeah. So, like, this is the ideal thing that you want to do if you scout the Spire a little bit early. You scout the Spire when it's, like, morphing, or you, like, you know, deduce that it's coming, and then you go for the Nidus, you go across the map with your Queens and with spores. You bring drones as well. But because the mutas are already out, it's going to be a little bit harder to pull this off. Again, like, a lot of damage needs to be done with this Nidus.
It definitely does. A couple of spores do get thrown down, so there is some anti-air defense here for Dark. But we'll see how long that can really last. Should see Nidus.
Oh, not quite. He's currently unaware, and at the moment, Dark, he's turtling up quite nicely, has a bunch of spores everywhere, has a bunch of Queens, but again, the big tell is that there's no Hydralistan. Like, he has no intention to transition into that quite yet. Still, you know, committing to this Queen Roach composition.
Well, knowing Dark, Solar might be thinking, okay, he's trying to get a Spire of his own. He's trying to out-macro me in terms of the muta count, but yeah, not the case right now. Really good job of keeping these mutalists back.
Yeah, and at the moment, Dark, like, he's able to defend. He may be waiting. Burrow just finished. +2 is on the way. So maybe he wants to wait for a bit of a timing with that upgrade, as again, he's still stuck on 3 bases, still stuck on this Roach Queen army.
Yeah, I'm just really curious where that Nidus will pop when it eventually does pop. Oh, Dark has just moved across the map. He does not care about the mutas, but maybe he should.
Yeah, I mean, so my guess is that he's basically distracting the mutas, so he has time to actually set up his Nidus and send his Queens across the map. But as a result, he's going to be losing a lot of Roaches in the process.
Yeah, he even gets caught out here with a bunch of Lings, but he will be able to muscle his way through. The Lings do catch the Nidus over here, and they're starting to get us around. The Queens are out, but there's not enough of them whatsoever. Well, the Roaches of Dark do make it through into the main base. Nice use of the burrow.
They do make it through, but there is already an Overseer here. The Nidus will finish up, but the problem is that all those Queens popped out, and they had no Roaches to buffer, so the Lings just killed everything, killed the majority of the Queens, and now Dark, like, he just isn't finding the damage.
That's a pretty expensive loss, to say the least.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, a lot of investment into that Nidus, and so far it hasn't paid for itself. But the bird Roaches, they are killing some drones.
Indeed, they are. Solar does have an overseer around, but yeah, that cannot be everywhere at once. Meanwhile, Dark transitioning into that infestation pit. One more roach here to see if it can just keep the army of Solar back. I don't know. There's detection.
There's detection, and Dark, he's in a really rough. He's in a really rough position. He's just throwing down more spores, trying to turtle up on these 3 bases, and it looks like the Hail Mary play is going to be Infestation Pit going into either Infestors or Vipers.
Yeah, either one would be really useful right now, either a Fungal or a Parabomb. But it's going to depend so much on whether or not he has the time to transition into that. A lot of the anti-air does get taken out. A massive push of the Roaches here. Trying to go for a bit of a base trade, trying to force these units back, but Solar, he is pressing his advantage.
Yeah, exactly. And something that happened as well is that there were units in that Nidus when they got sniped. Like, a bunch of supply just went down the drain for Dark. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get that Nidus off, but we do have this big Roach counterattack. A lot of drones are going down, and Solar is not turning around with his mutas.
Well, we're in a pretty interesting base trade scenario right now. Dark actually using the Sim City of Solar against him, forcing all these links to find a choke point.
Yeah, and
honestly, he's getting a lot done.
He is getting a lot done, but the big question is how much damage are these mutas going to get done as they just ravage all the bases. Almost no drones left for Dark. And sure, he has 4 Infestors on the way, but like, what's the point when you have no economy?
Yeah, that is the big question, isn't it? 6 drones versus 30 right now. GG is called. Solar fighting back. Going to be taking game number 1. Remembering is last week.
Yeah, GG. Solar takes game 1, and honestly, I feel for Dark. Like, as a Zerg player in a ZvZ, it's so frustrating when you scout that Spire so late. He scouted it when it was done, and his response wasn't the wrong response, it was just a late response, because that's something that you need to do so much sooner. Otherwise, like, there are so many mutas, there's so much out on the ground that you can't pull it off. And we saw, right? Like, the Nidus just didn't get too much damage done.
That they really didn't. I really like to play with the Borrowed Roaches, you know, just being something that Solar had to keep at the back of his mind, but by then, Solar had just snowballed so much on the meter count, so much on the link count, and I kind of feel like that game was Dark kind of overestimating himself, really thinking, you know what, I don't need to counter your mutas. I am just going to out-macro you and build a bigger, better army. The Roaches are going to kill your base before you can counter them. And no, that didn't happen. But maybe it will happen this game on Lightshade LE Dia de los Buenos LA. We're in the top left-hand corner of the map, starting all the way to the top left-hand corner. We have the blue Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He is representing KZ Gaming, KZG. He did his homework. He definitely did his homework. Let's see if that translates into a championship. We have Sola.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Lightshade LE, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, currently down 1-0 in this best of 5. Can he bring it back in this series, in this finals? We have, representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming, DPG. It is Dark.
I'm actually just looking up something real quick, as I do believe that Solar is right now tied up with stats for the most ESL Open Cup Asia wins.
Oh, okay, interesting. Gonna want to take that crown.
Yeah, break that record once and for all. As I wait for Wikipedia to load. And yeah, it is right now Solar and Stats who are tied with 6 wins each.
Jesus, okay, so Solar, he desperately wants that win. Of course, he wanted it last week as well. We'll see if Dark is able to give it to him. Again, it was only game 1 so far, and these ZvZs, they can turn out in quite a variety of ways. Again, like an interesting decision from Dark, because like he made the decision when he saw that Spire and it was almost done. He's like, all right, well, Nidus you. He didn't make the decision to be like, all right, I'm gonna throw down a Hydra then, and try and like, you know, turtle up and macro up to get into that late game. Regardless, both options are rough, and they both involve turtling up because you just have to relinquish map control to the mutas, right?
You kind of do for a while, and yeah, I guess either way you're looking to, you know, just buy yourself some time to make your transition. But yeah, the Hydra decision is a lot safer. That said, a wise man once said, "It is our decisions that define us," and I feel like that was pretty within character for what a lot of us expect from Dark.
True. Yeah, he's the overconfident player. Sometimes rightfully so, sometimes not so much. But you know, it's how he plays. It's how he defines himself. It's why a lot of people love him. It's why some people hate him. He has that kind of persona to him.
Let's be real.
So yeah, it's interesting to see. Meanwhile, oh my God, Solar, he's got a massive Ling Flood on the way.
Yeah, that's a pretty big Ling Flood.
Jesus.
16 Lings, gonna get that Roach Warren. Behind that said, Dark is finishing up his Baneling Nest, so he shouldn't be taking too much damage from Solar.
We shall
we'll have to buy a bit of
see.
time though.
Yeah, decent
body blocking.
Yeah, again, the goal of these Lings are to deny the third base so that Solar's own third can have, you know, that advantage, that base advantage, and so far it looks like he's going to be able to get it.
Yeah, I really don't see Dark being able to hold that. Cancels it right at the last second. And a couple of Banelings will be on the way. So Solar, I mean, he's content with the damage he got done.
Yeah.
Not going to be taking too many risks here. Not going to be pulling a Dark, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, unfortunately, like Dark, he didn't realize that this big Ling Flood was coming until it was already across the map, and he just didn't have enough units to retain or to hold on to his third base. So now Dark, he's a little bit behind. You know, like the third is already done for Solar, right? He already has that larva. Now it's on Dark to try and, you know, equalize a little bit and try and deal some damage.
Yeah, and I mean, he's pouncing around on the map, trying to get some control, trying to see if there's an opening for him to equalize on that damage, but yeah, does not find it. Solar still being pretty threatening over there. Getting a good little scout here. Doesn't quite get the gas count, I don't think, but to be honest, this early in the game, if you're worried about gas count, then you'd already be feeling it.
Yeah, speaking of gas count, we do see, as you said, like Solar, he's slowly working towards it. No lair quite yet, so it's a little bit early to call something like mutas. As we do see, +1 range on the way for Solar, so he's committing to the ground army.
Yeah, kind of flipping the switch here. Solar really saying, you know what? You don't know how to use roaches, Dark. I'm going to show you the way.
That's exactly what he's saying right now. And Dark, like the third is only just now finishing up. Solar, he's well ahead in workers. He's already got roaches out as well. He has that tech, and oh my God. Okay.
All right, +1 melee being thrown down here from Dark.
Jesus.
That's a lot of banelings being made, and yeah, just keeping our eyes on the gas count. Honestly, my eyes are entirely on Dark.
Oh,
he
yeah.
took the damage earlier in this game. It is really up to him to find a way to equalize. Let's see what he does. Probably the Spade Bus.
I just
It's a
don't.
lot of banelings.
It's a lot of roaches, though. That's the problem. Like, these are slow banelings. Like, are they really going to get past all the roaches?
They're going to get past some of the roaches as the Lings start to surround a bunch of the others, but holy heck, look at the split. GG immediately called when the baneling count gets sent out. Solar on match point. I like the idea coming out from Dark there. Just really going for something big, something ballsy, something to do a ton of damage and potentially equalize. But Solar, right on top of it, split up those roaches, getting a complete surround on top of all those banelings. And yeah, once they start to go down, Dark realized, I wasted so much gas here. I wasted so much resources here. And for what? For nothing.
Yeah.
GG was called.
GG was called, and I didn't check the vision there at the end. I probably should have, like, stayed in the game. I'm unaware if Dark actually scattered the Roach Warren, because maybe he thought that Solar was going to do the same thing. Like, yeah, like, to be fair, if Solar was doing the same thing he did game 1 and was going +1 melee, like Lings into like a fast Spire, like that would have worked. Like, a lot more damage would have been done. But because Solar had that Roach Warren, had roaches, like, he was perfectly fine to defend.
It absolutely was. And Solar, he's got to be feeling on top of the world right now. I mean, taken out 3-1 last week in the finals. And now, honestly, without too much difficulty, making it to the match point, he's got to have that momentum behind him.
Oh, yeah.
All our eyes are going to be on Dark to see how he switches things up, but he may not even get that opportunity as we do load in onto Jagannatha LE. The LE, of course, standing for Lahore Extraction. Lahore Extraction. That's when, you need an evac out of... Wait, Lahore is in India, right? It's not in Nepal. It might be in Nepal. Oh, I'm getting maybe geography mixed up. I'm sorry, Demi. We are now in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner of the map. We have the Blues player coming down from the land of Korea. He is representing KZ Gaming. KZG! He needs just one more map to completely sweep this finals and take the championship. Can he do it? We have Solar.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Jagannatha LE, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming. And, he's won the last 2 ESL Open Cups in ZvZs, but here, this week against Solar, he's been struggling. He's down 0-2. Can he bring it back? Can he make the reverse sweep happen? It is Dark.
I'm going to be real honest with you, Light. For about the past month or so, I was completely on the Dark hype train. Like, sure, he didn't make it out of his group in the round of 16 of GSL, but he beat Rogue for... It was one of the few times he beat Rogue. Then later on in the ESL Open Cup, he beat Rogue again 3-2. Then he beat Solar 3-1. It looked like Dark was really shaping up to be similar to his 2019... Okay, maybe not quite his 2019 form, but at least in ZvZ, a match which historically Dark has struggled with quite a bit. It seemed like he fixed that, and yeah, to me, if Dark was able to fix his weakest matchup, then there's a whole world in front of him. But now, Solar really saying, you know what? You're not the only one who's been working on your matchups, Dark.
Yeah, like it just feels like, and even a couple of people pointing it out in the chat, that like Dark, it's just a lack of information in these 2 games so far. Like, he scouted the Spire late, and in the last game, potentially, he didn't scout the Roach Warren, right? He didn't know what Solar was going for. He kind of, like, decided to go for these things without having full information, and taking risks like that, like, in a mirror matchup, like, it can just be completely shut down. We'll see how Dark is able to switch it up. We'll see if he's able to tighten up, because he has it in him. Like, again, we've seen him dominate Rogue and Solar recently in the past couple of weeks. Can he bring it back here, or is his mental like a little bit affected because he's down 0-2?
Well, here's what I think every fan of Dark in the chat should do right now. Every fan of Dark should just say, "Humanize Carapace." Just chant it all together.
Oh,
and
my
have
God.
Dark have a bit of better scouting there. Every fan of Solar should just go, "Yeah, Solar! Crush him!"
Just do what you're doing, mate. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, whatever you're doing, it's clearly working.
We'll see as Solar, without Pneumatized Carapace, without an Overlord, he gets in with his Ling, scouts everything in the main.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And that is really where he's been excelling in this particular series. And even in the last series against Trap, he somehow always snuck a couple of Lings into the main base, got a full scout without putting any of his Overlords at risk. Taking a very quick lair here.
Yeah.
Solar is.
Mate, that's...
And the gas count, that's 3 gases on the way. That's 4 gases.
That's an incredibly fast lair. This is a similar opener like to game 1, where he went for a fast Evo chamber to get that wall up and running. He has all his gases, mate. To me, this is screaming Spire. We'll see if he does something else. Oh, but Dark, yo, he's going for it. He's going for the Bane Bust.
He is going for the Bane Bust, and as you said, this time, Solar focusing on the early game at least with Lings rather than with Roaches. And I think you are right. This is the quintessential Spire build, 2-base Spire build.
Oh god, but there are Banelings being morphed in defensively for Solar. He is trying to get up and running. Meanwhile, we do have a couple more Banelings coming in from Dark. He's trying to end the game right here, right now.
I feel like those Queens actually may have killed Dark over there, as they bought him enough time. The Banelings trying to go in. 8 drones do go down for Solar so far. But the rest of the Banelings for Dark have been taken out. There's only one left. Only a handful of Lings. Solar has completely held this, but there are still a good amount of Lings that are still threatening the workers by this third base.
Exactly. You know what? 10 drones have gone down. He's trying to make his way into the main base. And again, because the Roach one was a part of the wall, Solar, he has Roaches defensively. He can churn them out to help defend, but the Lings, they're getting good surrounds on everything.
They are getting some pretty good surrounds. The Banelings are starting to get sniped, and Solar has some Banelings of his own. Dark has been completely deflected, but he is not done yet. He is regrouping his Lings. Okay, now he's going home.
Yeah, and you know what, Dark, because he killed 10 workers at the third base, like, he's okay economically. Like, look at the worker count. He's behind, sure, but only by a little. What's scary, though, is we were talking about it, the Spire is on the way for Solar, and Dark, again, he kind of had to try and end the game there. Like, he doesn't really have an answer to the Spire at the moment.
Well, could go for a Nidus again.
He could go for an IDC, and the problem is that he hasn't confirmed the Spire. He doesn't know 100% what Solar is doing. He did see the gases in the natural, so you can kind of deduce, and he does have a lair on the way. Once the lair finishes, we'll see if he decides to throw down a Hydroden, if he decides to throw down a bunch of stacked defense. Again, like, he isn't out of this.
He definitely is not, and I do imagine that Dark is just, able to hold on for long enough. He'll be getting a fourth base, he'll be getting a more stable economy, he'll be taking out, and he will get a Ling into the natural base and confirm that Spire.
He did it, he snuck in, he didn't rely on an Overlord, he snuck in with a Ling, and he's going for a Spire of his own!
Wow.
Okay, alright, do you think, there's a couple of ways you can do this. If you're Dark, you go Mutas as well, but you stay defensively and you take fights with Spores and Queens, or you go Corruptor.
Well, the Dark we saw from last week, when he saw that Solar was going Spire before him, he went Spire, he went Mutas, and he did play on the defensive a little bit, but he also, pushed his luck. He sent out Rumbys, he sent out some Banelings, even harassed a bit with those Mutas, and he actually found quite a bit of harassment damage done. And if you forced Solar into all his Spore Crawlers.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's exactly what happened last week, where Solar, he was forced to fight in Spore range, and because of that, I believe it was on Death Aura, if I remember correctly, Dark, he was able to take that win despite having the much later Spire. So we'll see what happens, because the Mutas are out, they are killing these Overlords, and the Spire for Dark is about to finish up.
I just love, aesthetically, I just love a bunch of Mutas coming together to attack a Overlord like that. Just a bunch of predators jumping onto something.
Exactly.
Jump onto this fourth base of Dark.
They jump on. Meanwhile, ooh, nicely done. The Lings are actually able to kill the drone of this fourth base of Solar, so they both delay each other's bases, able to do so. Meanwhile, Dark, so far, he has a bunch of defensive Queens, and this time, hey, we got Corruptors.
We do have Corruptors on the way. So this is Dark really saying, I'm going to take this seriously. I am gonna stop taking all those risks I took earlier in the series. Gonna go for more conventional wisdom.
Yeah. So we'll see how this plays out. This is the safer option. This is the less risky option. And this makes sense because he's on match point, right? Like, Dark, he cannot slip up one more loss and he's out of the tournament. So he's going for the safer option, going for these Corruptors and going for +1 air armor. But that means that he has not much on the ground.
Exactly, that is the double-edged sword of going for Corruptors. It looks like Dark should just about be able to hold this with the Queens. Good transfuses. And he does deflect the push here from Solar. Trying to isolate some of these units so he can pounce on them with the Mutalisks. But not quite working out for him.
Exactly. Like, this is the thing that you have to balance, right? Like, if you're Solar, if you wanted to, you could just go mass Muta because they attack ground and air. When it comes to Dark, you have to have a balance. You have to have a balance of Corruptors and Roaches, or Lings on the ground to help defend.
Alright, well, sniping a couple of these Corruptors, or sniping one Corruptor, as Dark just one-shots the Mutas one by one. And yeah, Solar gonna have to retreat, gonna have to think of stage 2. He cannot really afford to stay on this sort of tech unless he decides, you know what, I'm gonna get a whole lot of Mutiling Bane, I'm gonna get a bunch of bases, and I'm just gonna trade inefficiently until eventually Dark caves. But yeah, we should be seeing the next phase of tech being thrown down from Solar pretty soon. Yeah,
you say that, but he's committing +2 air attack on the way as well. So Solar, he's making more and more Mutas. But as you're talking about, like, that next step, typically we do see, like, Ling Ling Muta, eventually into Hive, eventually into Ultras. There are a couple of options available for Solar. He could go Broodlords if he wants to. It isn't the ideal, the smoothest transition, but he is just, you know, sharking around trying to find some damage with all these Mutas.
And I mean, picks off a Queen here and there, you know. As long as he's able to keep the Mutalist alive, it's still a net positive.
Oh yeah, we shall see, as there are a lot of Lings here again going for a big run by, and there's nothing on the ground.
There is nothing underground to defend against this, and Solar jumps right on top of the Queen. Apparently there was a Transfuse nearby.
Apparently, but you know what? The Lings get in, they force all the drones out of the mineral line. Meanwhile, at the same time, the Mutas are coming in to deny the fourth.
Yeah, and Dark, he all-armied a bit. Brought all of those Corruptors to the south, where he really needed them in the north.
Yeah. And now the Lings, they slip into the main base as well. So much damage being done for Solar, really pulling Dark apart. Even though Dark, he's meant to be the one turtling right now. He's meant to be the defensive Zerg player, and he's just, you know, folding at the seams.
Yeah, Solar really identifying these one little openings that he's got, and then just going straight for it, throwing all of his supply to them. And now, I mean, as you said, Dark just really picked apart. He really, I have a feeling he really cannot afford much supply to defend much of anything.
Exactly. The problem is that he's making 5 more Corruptors. Like, this is the balance that we were talking about earlier. You know, you need enough Corruptors to defend against the Mutas, but you have to spend your resources wisely on that ground army as well. Otherwise, you get pulled apart by Lings.
Just as Solar demonstrated there, 14 drones have gone down. This is now 71 versus 53 workers. Previous 2 players. One of them's a bigger number. And Solar finally transitioning to a ground army, going for Hydras.
Oh, this is a big brain play.
And Lurkers too.
Exactly, I love this. He is done with the Mutas. He's going to do whatever damage he can and transition into Hydra, Lurker, potentially Viper. And Dark, he's still on Lair Tech. Like, this would be okay if maybe Dark had a Hive on the way, so then he could go Great Aspire into Broodlords or something. But at the moment, he kind of has all this potentially dead supply after the Mutas go down.
Yeah, that is going to be the big if of this particular match. Now, that said, Solar will have to give up some of his supply here. And it's a pretty delicate balancing act that you mentioned earlier, but in this case, it's more of a balancing act of, you know, Solar wants to sacrifice something, but he doesn't want to throw away his entire army, leaving him open to a counter-attack.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of a counterattack, the Lings, they make their way once again into the main base.
Solar has just been doing that so consistently tonight.
Oh, and actually
come out right now, and
yeah, and this is a good fight for Dark. Like, there are not enough Hydras, so the Roaches, they get on top of everything, kill all the Hydras on the ground, and the Corruptors are dealing with all the Mutas.
Yeah, but there is a bit of defender's advantage here, and a decent amount of static D. The Roaches are starting to get picked off, and enough of the Hydra survive, it seems. Okay, actually only one Hydra survives. But Solar's starting to remax on Hydras right now, getting a good amount of Queens in position as well.
Exactly. This is the thing, right? Like, he has all these Corruptors, and sure, he can win the battle in the air, but then the Hydras are just going to reign supreme. Like, they're just going to shoot up, right? And the Corruptors, they cannot shoot down. So it's all about the Roaches and Ravagers on the ground to try and, you know, really win that ground engagement.
All right, nice little Corrosive Bile takes out 2 of the site defense structures. But Solar's looking to pounce on top of this. Maybe a bit of an overextension. So he does retreat back to the safety of these Lurkers. No detector right now for Dark.
Yeah. None whatsoever, and the Lurkers are out. They have been morphed in, so now Solar, he has the defender's advantage. He has those Lurkers set up there. Not set up here over on the left-hand side. They do need to be repositioned.
Yeah, or do they? As there's a pretty good amount of Hydras here to deal with that. Solar is not quite overextending, but Dark is trying to get a bit of concave. Nah, Solar has too much supply here. GG is called immediately. And Solar, he's been waiting a whole week for this, but he takes his revenge. He sweeps the floor with Dark, and he is now the record holder for most ESL Asia championships with 7.
He has done it. He has taken that from Stats, and now Solar has won the most ESL Open Cups, and In quite a fashion. Again, like we've seen Dark do so much better in these ZvZs, and to be fair, like he didn't look too bad there in the last game. The others were, again, kind of a lack of information. This time, you know, he went for those corruptors. He had that going for him, but yeah, he was just, regardless, he was still pulled apart. Like something about Solar and his Lings, they were just all over the place.
Yeah, they were, not just in this series, but his series against Trap. They were always able to make it past the wall and get the information that they needed. I don't know what it is tonight.
Yeah.
So I've been feeding them a bit of a special diet.
I don't know either, but you know, Solar, he does it in quite a fashion. 3-0 over Dark.
Wow, and thus will end Dark's ESL Open Cup Asia streak of championships. Solar, once again, I mean, I wouldn't normally say, oh yeah, we'll see how this translates to the offline stuff, but again, we've just about finished up what the offline events in Korea, or the premier events, I should say, as not all of them are offline. Still waiting on Super Tournament, but yeah, I feel like that's going to be a little ways away.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see what happens there. Again, congratulations to Solar with a nice win over Dark. Congratulations to the other players who made it as far as the semis. Again, it was really impressive to see Maxed make it that deep, as of course the players who did make it to the semis did get a nice payout.
Yeah, it's all you need to make it to them semifinales.
Exactly, and with that, I believe that's it for us here today. Again, thank you everyone for joining us. Shout out to the other casters who joined us as well. Renegade was also casting in English, as well as Bel Air in German, and Into the Inu in Korean.
Yeah, check out those channels. Again, that's going to be Renegade X Studios for Renegade, Bel Air TV for Bel Air, and I believe Inu is just Into the Inu, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. And yeah, it's actually Into the Clan com.
Oh,
Interesting. Interesting URL there.
Yeah. Well, check those guys out as well. If you are interested, there are a couple of series that we weren't able to cover that they were. So yeah, definitely check those out. And yeah, I mean, I still feel like I'm still processing a bit here from that ZvZ and just how impressive Solar was looking.
Yeah, again, really impressive. We were expecting Dark to take it, but it goes to show that, you know, if you are given a week to prepare and to improve yourself, like, a lot can happen, a lot can change. And Solar, he's no one to really sleep on. You know, he's still in there, he's still fighting, he's still competing, practicing, getting better and stronger. And yeah, congratulations once again. And yeah, that's gonna be it for us for today. You can now see our weekly schedule on the stream right now. We have, of course, earlier today, I casted the NA Apprentice Cup with Milk and Cookies. We just covered ESL Open Cup Asia, and we have
you can take a marker and just cross it out on your monitor there. To keep track of what events are coming up soon.
Exactly. And you can see there, we will be the official DreamHack Masters Winter B stream for the China region. Yeah,
I won't be doing it on this channel. We'll be doing it on the actual ESL_B, or no, it's just ESLB if I'm not mistaken. Channel over on Twitch. So yeah, do stay tuned for that if you're interested in any of these Chinese players, whether it be Time or Cyan, or I saw XY and Sequa in the groups as well.
Hey, how could you forget Maxed?
How could I forget Maxed? How could I forget Maxed?
So yeah, if you're interested, then you can check that out over on ESL_SC2B. But other than that, Yaku, who are you? Where can people find more of you?
Who am I?
Who are you?
Twitch.tv/Yakuzaku1. Not gonna be streaming, I don't think, this week. It's looking pretty busy. Twitter.com @Empora Yakuzaku! !Discord. You can find me as well as the other members of CranKy in our own CranKy Ducklings Discord channel. And other than that, buy my shirts. Where can we find you, Light?
light_VIP on Twitch and Twitter. You can follow me there as I do stream occasionally. I will probably stream tomorrow, as you can see on our schedule, we do have a day off. Tuesday is free for us, so we won't be casting. So yeah, I may be streaming a little bit of ladder or something on my channel. For sure, I'm going to be working on VODs. I have to edit and work on all the VODs that we've been doing, all the casts that we've been doing over the last week.
Sunlight your energy.
Yes.
Or if you prefer, your Dare Ice coffees.
Exactly. And thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. And of course, follow us here on the CranKy Ducklings. We are live, as you can see, almost every single day of the week. We have plenty of StarCraft here, whether it's Korean, Latin American, North American, Southeast Asian, even some amateur events that we run as well for for diamond players or for masters players. So yeah, hit that follow button.
Sign up.
That's true. You can also check out our YouTube if these aren't at the best times for you and you want to watch some of our VODs. They are all there, split up by matchup as well as players, so you can peruse. You can see like, hey, I want to see these players duke it out or this matchup. That's all there available on YouTube. And if you want to go that extra step, we also have a Patreon if you're interested. If you want to support even further, that money does go towards the tournaments that we run. It's kind of set up like a League, where the prize pool gets increased. Semifinals gets paid out. Eventually, we get a monthly finals. So yeah, if you're interested, that is there as well. And yeah, I think we're done for today.
Yeah. Shout out once again to Lord Loken for them give subs. Always appreciate the support.
Yeah, definitely.
And with that, yeah, I think we are just about covered up here. We'll see you guys in China.
We will. Thanks everyone for watching. Ciao.
Bella.
ZvZ